Brought to you by Bright House Financial, established by MetLife.
Thinking about retirement can freak a lot of people out, but with a little planning, there are ways you can cut costs now to see a big payoff on spending power later.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us now to break it all down. Okay, Jill, so we are talking retirement. No one ever wants to really sort of face the music on this. But what can you do now to have a meaningful impact on your retirement savings later?
I hate to sound like the boring certified financial planner that I am, but obviously the most important thing is to save. Right. And we know that the sooner you start, the better it will be. Every single study out there of retirees, when they say, what do you wish you knew now that you're retired? I wish someone told me I should save more. Well, we're telling you to save more now. And it's really important. So if you've got a workplace plan, a 401k, a 403b, or you work for a city, a 457 plan, the government, a thrift savings plan, do as much as you possibly can to save today. And what we know is that that habit forms, and the earlier you form that habit, the better it will be. That said, you also have to look at the other side of the equation, which is how much do you spend? And if you can limit how much you spend today to save a little more, that's great. But also, again, the habit of learning how much you spend and the variances that you experience month to month, that can help you a lot later when you're looking at your retirement spending.
There's a lot of discussion these days about downsizing. What's the difference between saving and downsizing?
So, I mean, look, one way to think about it is this. I bought a big house. I was raising my family. Now I'm in my 50s, and I don't need this big house. Should I sell that house, buy a smaller home, a condo, maybe even rent, free up money that I can then put towards retirement? A lot of people are downsizing a little bit too late. And frankly, if you do it earlier, then you can capture the money that you're not spending on supporting your lifestyle, and you can put it away. If you wait till the bitter end and you say, okay, I'm 67 years old, I stopped working, and now you try to downsize, you're very much subject to the whims of the marketplace and the real estate market. So I think it's better to try to think about this more like 10 or 12 years out and then pursue what you hope to be your goal. Don't get married to your plan. Things change, right? You know, your kids move, you may want to move near them, maybe you don't. But be flexible, and the way you preserve flexibility is to make choices earlier on that free up money to make those dreams a reality.
That's interesting because you talked about, you know, buying a house or you're being subject to the real estate market. And a lot of people choose to save less but double down on their mortgage payment and really accelerate paying off that home as a kind of a savings plan.
Right. I mean, I used to hear that when I was a financial planner and I was in practice. There is certainly an emotional payoff of paying down that mortgage. It really does feel good. But remember, you pay off that mortgage and those dollars are gone, and you've got a house, and especially if you choose to remain in that house, that equity in that house is tied up. So one of the reasons why I like actually keeping a mortgage a little bit longer than maybe other financial professionals is that I think it preserves more options. So for example, instead of doubling down and paying off your 3.5% 30-year mortgage, maybe when you're in your late 40s, your early 50s, you take that money and you put it more into your retirement account. And now you've got pre-tax savings, and it's actually working for you. And you're hopefully making more than that 3.5% rate, and that will give you more money down the line. You don't have to carry a 30-year mortgage to the full term, but it does make sense to preserve the option of having that liquidity, that money that's available to you, and not have it locked into the equity in your home.
Right. So getting close to retirement means you're getting older, and as you get older, there are unexpected health care costs that come into play. Start to not be able to see things. That's a minor one, but if you get older, obviously there are larger health care issues that may crop up and sort of ding your plan for retirement. How do you prepare for that?
Well, I mean, I think this is part of your overall game plan when you're looking at retirement spending. What we know is that over the course of a lifetime, most people are spending about $250,000 out of pocket, not Medicare. You're spending over the course of a retirement. Now,
$250,000.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
really big numbers, right? So that's the cost of your Medicare and your actual plan, your prescription drug plan. So, because your retirement can last a really long time. I think that people really lose track of that. You retire, you're 65, you could live 30 years.
Right.
I hope you do. And in doing so, you're going to have some extra money. So make it part of your expenses, okay? So if you think, all right, 10 grand a year, it's probably what you're spending right now in your health care, it's going to continue in retirement. Don't presume just because you're covered by Medicare at age 65 that the costs go away. All those out-of-pocket costs, all the times you go out of your network, all those times when you want to pay for a little extra something, that is coming out of your pocket. You've got to include that in your total retirement plan.
And what about once you start taking money out of your retirement accounts? Anything that you can do to maybe limit the amount of taxes that you have to pay and keep more of your money?
Well, I had a funny call on my radio show recently where a guy says, I don't want to have to pay the tax to Uncle Sam on my 401k. I said, well, you haven't paid tax yet. That's the whole point of deferrals. So you do have to take money out. You can wait until you're 70 and a half. That's when you must begin taking distributions, and you will do that. But the reality is that money hasn't been taxed. The way that you can avoid it is twofold. One is you can decide beforehand, I want to start converting some of that money into a Roth IRA. That will require you to pay the tax, but you'll know what the tax is. You won't have to wait for the government to make you take those withdrawals. The other thing you can do, let's say you're really rich, like Vlad. Let's just presume you're
He's rolling in it.
He is rolling in it,
Rolling in it.
obvious, right?
Scrooge McDuck.
And so Scrooge over here says, okay, I don't want to pay my tax. What should I do? You can actually make a charitable gift from your retirement account up to $100,000 a year, and it goes directly to the charity, and you don't have to pay tax on the money that comes out of that retirement account. Now, there are a lot of rules around this. It has to go directly to the charity. It has to be a charity that the IRS recognizes. But there are a lot of people who are saying, I don't need that distribution because you're rich like Vlad. So I want to make sure that this $5,000 that I was going to be taxed on, that it goes straight to the charity, and then I avoid paying taxes on that amount. I feel good about giving to charity. Everybody wins. The charity doesn't pay tax on it.
I like it.
Good, yeah, I like
if
that.
you're rich like Vlad.
Qualified charitable deduction.
That's the way to go. Jill Schlesinger, as always, thank you very much.
Sure.
Brought to you by Bright House Financial, established by MetLife.